What's good, y'all? Welcome back, and we got another recipe that's just about guaranteed to widen your back, all right? Especially with the holiday season. So we're making some classic Southern style cornbread dressing, y'all. So listen, when you take a bite of this, I know you're gonna feel the spirit of like a grandma, auntie that got the little Bluetooth in their ear, you know what I'm saying? And the baby fat on the back of their arm, all of that. You know what I'm talking about, especially if you're from the South. So look, all the ingredients to make this will be in the description box below. And then if you ain't already subscribed to the channel, I'm surprised. But also go ahead and just click that subscribe button real quick. Just now also hit that notification bell so you can be kept up to date with all the recipes coming your way. All right, but let's get it though.
I do my thing in the kitchen. My name is Cord, I'm for the culture, and I'm here with a vision. We here to talk, chop it up. They say the odds are stacked against us. We ain't seen that bet. And the things we do in kitchens, y'all ain't seen that shit. Yes, Lord, let me talk. Listen, man, we here for a good time, not a long time. Matter of fact, we here for a great time. You know, turned in the Kitchen Culture Podcast.
So we're gonna make our cornbread from scratch. So we're gonna get us 2 cups of some all-purpose flour, 2 cups of yellow cornmeal. Come in with some black pepper, some salt, teaspoon of some baking soda, 2 teaspoons of some baking powder. Now we're gonna add a little bit of sugar, just a little bit, couple of quick shakes, that's it. All right, so we're gonna whisk our dry ingredients together. Once we got everything well incorporated, we're gonna set this aside and start on our wet ingredients. All right, so our wet ingredients, gonna get you 4 eggs, crack this into a bowl. Now go ahead and whisk these together real quick. You know what I mean? We want these nice and beaten. All right, got us 2 cups of some cold whole milk. Add that on in. Then we got us a cup of some melted unsalted butter, so that's gonna be 2 sticks worth of unsalted butter. Add that on in there. And just a quick little of some of that vanilla extract, okay? Go ahead and just mix these together one more time. Take your wet ingredients and incorporate it into your dry. So while you're adding in, I would say go ahead and start whisking this stuff together. You know, scrape the sides of that bowl, things of that nature. And you want to start working this in before your eggs start trying to cook and things like that too. Now you also don't want to over mix this mixture here, but you do want to make sure all like your dry stuff is incorporated into the wet. So just keep working your wrist. How we're gonna do this, get a little olive oil spray. You can also butter down your cast iron. I highly suggest that you use a cast iron skillet. It's just better that way. But you know what I mean, you can use a casserole dish and the cornbread is gonna come out just fine. But traditionally, and Grandma give you brownie points for using cast iron, all right? All right, so yeah, once we got this thing oiled down, go ahead and add in that mixture, okay? So look, go ahead, spread that on out, make sure, you know what I mean, everything is worked around your cast iron evenly. And I mean, listen, we're not going for picture perfect presentation here. This finna get crumbled up anyway, you know? So, all right, now we're ready for the oven. We're gonna go ahead and throw our cornbread in the oven at 400 for about 25 to 30 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean when we put it in the center. All right, so the cornbread done, what you wanna do, so a quick toothpick test, get you a toothpick, stick it down all the way. So if it comes out majority of the way clean or all the way clean, you're good to go. So again, we're gonna go ahead and rest this on our stove, let this come to room temp, and then you can put this in the fridge, let it just hang out on the counter overnight. Just cover it up. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we got us a whole young chicken right here. What we're gonna do, drop that on into a deep pot. And usually with these, the giblets and the giblets and all that stuff will be in this little cavity right here. What you wanna do, take that on out, set that aside. You can make a nice little giblet gravy with that later. All right, then just, you know, you kind of gotta violate this thing a little bit just to make sure. See how we got a few livers and stuff? Set that aside as well. So here we're just adding everything into our pot, okay? So we got us like a handful of some garlic cloves. Add that on in. All right, we're gonna have a bunch of some fresh thyme and rosemary. Add that on in. A little bit of ground sage. Black pepper. A little bit of salt now because look, we want to keep this relatively low sodium, all right? Because we want to control our salt content. So, and keep in mind, we're gonna have a lot of water. So we're gonna cut up a whole yellow onion. Go ahead and throw that on in there too. Pot is filled up with enough water to cover the chicken. All right, so now we got this up to a little bit of a boil. What we're gonna do is put our lid on and then reduce that heat on down to a simmer. All right, we're gonna let this simmer for about an hour. I've been teasing y'all long enough, but look, as of November 15th, you'll be able to pre-order my cookbook, The New Southern Table. Listen, it's 110 plus recipes. So we got your big back recipes, we got all the desserts, we got nostalgia hood classics, cocktails, date night. Man, even put some vegetables up in there. Like, I'm talking real vegetables, you know what I mean? Whatever the occasion is, we got a recipe for it, okay? If you ain't already, join the wait list to get your copy, okay? The link is in the description box below. But look, let's get back to the recipe though. So this is liquid gold. What we're gonna do is, now I got a bowl underneath my strainer. Go ahead and pour it on in. All right, so now go ahead and remove your strainer. All of that we left with is liquid gold. So one more thing. We're just gonna skim off that little extra fat that's at the top. Then once you done skimmed off your extra fat, what we're gonna do is put these into some mason jars. You can also put this into an ice tray and, you know, pop them in as cubes for later use. If you put this in a mason jar, this will last you about a week and a half. And then you can freeze this for up to about a year. What we're gonna do is take this on out. Now your meat should be like super tender, so might have to take this out in sections. Now, of course, by all means, if you want to use, you know, a ready-made chicken broth, you can do that. But you know what I mean? You reap what you sow. Like the soul and extra effort that you put in this is definitely gonna pay off. Okay, so just go ahead and set your chicken into a little bowl. All right, so now what we're gonna do, strain the liquid and throw out the vegetables. So my best advice on this, go ahead and shred the meat up. So you wanna leave out the skin and, you know, you wanna leave out the skin, bones, and any sort of cartilage, right? So, real easy. Whether you do this by hand or with a knife, boom. Set that aside. And just do that until you got everything removed except for the meat. Oh, a fun fact now, the longer you let your broth simmer, the deeper your flavor is gonna be. But after about an hour, you wanna take your meat out, because then you don't wanna overly cook your white meat, right? But aside from that, yeah, if you wanna go longer for like up to 5 hours, by all means, you get an even better flavor. But I don't remember my grandma doing no damn 5 hours, if I'm gonna be honest. Every good dressing is gonna have a holy trinity of veggies, and we're gonna start off by cutting up an onion. All right, so go ahead and slice this in half like so. Half an onion is gonna get us a cup, because we need a cup of yellow onion. Yeah, we're gonna need a cup of some onion, all right? And we dice. Whether it's yellow or white, either way is fine. All right, next we're gonna get us a green bell pepper. So just go ahead and slice these on up, okay? So cut these into thin strips. All right, now take them strips and we're just gonna go ahead and dice. And a whole bell pepper will get you a cup. And you gotta add some celery. So go ahead and cut this up in a little smaller strips. For your trinity, you need a cup of each bell pepper, celery, and onion. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and saute our veggies real quick. So hit your skillet with a little bit of avocado, grapeseed, or olive oil. Just get you some oil up in there. All right, so them veggies that we cut up early, we're gonna go ahead and add it on in. So we got our diced onion and our celery and bell peppers. Oh, and add in half a stick of unsalted butter. Now we were supposed to actually do that first, but either way, it's gonna cook down the same. All right, so we're gonna let these veggies cook down for about 5 minutes. All right, so now me, I like to season up my veggies, all right? So we're gonna come in with some black pepper, a little garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, add in some poultry seasoning, and absolutely, you're gonna add you some sage, all right? This is what really tie everything in together. Add you some salt, just regular plain old salt. Now, grandmas back in the day, they used to love this, and I see why, but we're gonna add us a little bit of nature seasoning. Now, doing it this way, you really don't have to season up your cornbread too much, you know what I mean? Because the flavor is gonna disperse throughout once we add this in with everything else. So go ahead and work all of this in together. Let this finish sauteing. That flavor's about to be stupid good. All right, we're gonna take this off the eye, now we get to the fun part. Okay, so now we get to the fun part. So that cornbread from last night, go ahead and add that on in to your bowl. All right, so go ahead, gonna do this by hand. You know what I'm saying? Just like grandma and them used to do. So, go ahead and get this nice and crumbly. So we're gonna add our cooked veggies on in. That cooked chicken from earlier. So get you a can of cream of chicken. You can get the cream of chicken with herbs, reduced sodium cream of chicken, you know, whichever works for you, but cream of chicken with herbs is what I'm gonna be using. Come through with a can of cream of celery. Then about 4 to 6 cups of some of that chicken broth that we made. Just depending on how loose or, you know, thick you want this. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and mix all of this around. Yeah, make sure every piece of cornbread is good and wet. Taste your work real quick. Make sure it's up to par. So at this point, if you need to add any extra salt or anything, you go ahead and do so before we add our eggs in, because, you know, consuming raw eggs, big no-no. So, all right, cracking in 2 eggs. All right, so once you got your eggs in there, we're just gonna go ahead and work those in. We're just gonna go ahead and work them in. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and spray our cast iron down or casserole dish, whatever you finna be using. All right, go ahead and add this beautiful mixture on in. So yeah, we want it to be a little bit loose and tight at the same time, if I can make that make sense. Need it to have like a little bounce back, a little jiggle. And see, we got the right consistency. See, we got a little bit of jiggle to it. Got a little bit of jiggle to it, but you know what I mean, it ain't loose. All right, we put our beautiful dressing on into up at 375. We're gonna let that thing go for about 35 to 45 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this rest on the stove for a little bit. Let's give it a few minutes before we dig on it. Have some patience. Now, if you follow these instructions exactly, be real with you, you don't even need no cranberry sauce for this. Everything moist, just how we like it. It got that taste of somebody that's been in the kitchen, you know, with the little baby fat on the back of their arm, you know what I'm talking about? You could hear Marvin Gaye just playing on the little, my grandparents had like the jukebox and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But I sit around and eat this whole damn pan in front of y'all, but God, oh yes, Lord. Man, I'm tripping.
Yes, Lord, let me talk. You tuned into the Chef Cord in the Kitchen. We here for a good time, not a long time. Matter of fact, we here for a great time. Yes, Lord, let me talk.